How is it going? Is it working? Yes, it is working. My voice is a bit raspy for some reason, and it really pisses me off. But whatever. I don't know if you can see what I am seeing, but there was something here that was supposed to work about Genesis. It does look like some weekend dance thing, right? Well, anyways, let's check another thing. Calling all stations. Pages from our internet vaults. The main components of the Calling All Stations website were album details, QuickTime videos for Congo and Shipwrecked, August 26, 1997, concert at the top of the telecommunications tower in East Berlin, concert at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Wait a minute, they went East Berlin. They went from Europe to Florida. Of course, it takes. It's still. I feel the absence of feel. No, I'm just kidding. I feel Ray here. You know, it's like you train, you go there, and then you need to go here, and well, whatever. That's Genesis for you. Interviews. Interviewer. Okay. The transcript of a web chat done on June 6th, the one with the guy that typed really slowly, I imagine. 360-degree pictures of the farm studio. What do you want to see? Now I'm realizing that with my setup I can't see chat, so I'm going to fix this real quick. But there's probably no one watching this. Okay, let's see. Is it playing music, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Chat doesn't appear to load. Oh yeah, it is loading. Top chat, live chat. Okay, no one is here, but I will be paying attention. Whoa. So anyways, I will go with the, this probably doesn't even work, so I'm going just to click it right away. Okay. Yep, it doesn't. It's still interesting that they had this kind of things. Let's see the transcript. Yep. The fascination that people had with computers back then versus now. Okay, it's a bit loud for me, that track tribe. Hopefully it can be heard. Let me check again. Yeah, it's still the same. The levels are fine. I'm glad that I can finally figure out the levels of my voice and the background. I always struggle with that. I always test that, and then record the thing and it comes wrong anyways. In editing, I am being better with that. Wait a minute. My phone is too loud. When did you know that the new singer will fit better than the others who auditioned? Rai is better than Peter. No, I'm just kidding. By the way, I missed on many birthdays, it seems. After the audition, I didn't think had the job. A lot of the songs I was singing were high, and if it hadn't been for the fact I was cheating myself, what is this? Why is it reading so badly? After the audition, I didn't think had the job. I don't know. You know, this was not made with the AI. This is too human. Cheating. Okay. Will your tour stay on the cutting edge of the stage shows with lighting special effects, etc.? Yes. We're working on the development of where the last show ended using the screens. People comment to me that the Weekend Dance Tour and the Calling All Stations Tour are way too similar. And I agree that in some aspects they are very similar. They have the same videos for, I think, Domino and Calling All Stations. I'm not Calling All Stations. I mean, Home by the Sea. Home by the Sea, it is the same graphic. Domino, I think that they changed some small things to make it more Calling All Stations in between, but most of it is the same. And I don't know. I feel like I really like the lights on the floor, and I like the light rig that goes up from the ground, and they look like robots or whatever. It's actually Weekend Dance 1.5 if you think about it. But also what makes it special for me, I'm answering the questions myself. But I think that the tour is special to me because it features so many different people in it, besides Tony and Mike. And the takes on the songs are very different. And of course, Ray being a new voice, but the drummer also. And hearing the Calling All Station songs live is very special. So because almost nobody plays them except for Rai. My job was to take Mike and Tony's melodic and lyrical ideas. I think that my mouse is not showing on the screen. I think that it isn't. Let me check. Yeah, it isn't showing, but I'm reading over here. We will play hopefully a fair proportion of the new album. As regards to the old songs, we will cover a very wide range, decide a little bit by which one works best with Ray's voice. So far, most of them sound great. No, I was reading over here. What the fuck? Firstly, my job was to take Mike and Tony's melodic and lyrical ideas and adapt my own style to it. I was also asked to write lyrical and melodic ideas myself, which seemed to work quite well. Was Ray Wilson a big fan of Genesis? Ray came after the fact to say that he actually wasn't. Genesis were introduced to me by a school friend. The album selling by the pound, which I enjoyed a great deal. I then went on to buy Trick of the Tail, and during the 80s thought the song Mama was one of the best songs of the decade. Ray has said that this could probably be true as well. It actually doesn't negate the thing. He probably just people. You have to consider that people sometimes just buy records, especially in Europe. Here, I buy records. I go out of my way to buy records because I'm in the future of that's the 2020s, and and here in Chile you have to go a bit out of your way. In Europe, I noticed in Denmark like there were many stores and Genesis was very abundant, and here there are stores, but they are very specific, like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, and that's it. Genesis is not very heard over here. Well, the hits are heard, of course. Lately, they have been playing more songs. It feels weird because I don't remember hearing them much in 2016, for example. But anyways, the lineup: Anthony Drennan, Near Sea. The main difference this time was that Ray was not around until a large part of the instrumental music was written. For the last few albums, obviously Phil has been there from the word go. Yeah, I wanted to check the audio. I don't want the playlist to end and for YouTube to go into another shitty playlist. That's not the one that I'm playing right now. Even when I put the playlist to repeat itself, the thing just continues into other things. Okay. So far, the tour plans are North America in the autumn and Europe in spring. Obviously, the reaction will decide how much more we do. Having never played in Asia, we would like to go there. You actually played in Japan, Mike. As well as South America, which we haven't played since 1977. Don't say that. It makes me more sad because in 2007, someone was holding pamphlets saying, Genesis, please come to Chile. And it appears on the DVD in the live in Rome so many times. It's so sad. I was watching that the other day on the TV, and my mother watched that, and she was like, "Oh, that's so sad." And I'm like, "Oh no." Well, anyways, on the next album, I'm sure Ray will be much more involved in the writing process. In this world, there are things that that fail, and there are things that they fail and stop, and other things that succeed and continue. And sometimes things that succeed and continue are not very good, and things that fail and stop are things that maybe they shouldn't have. People thought that calling all stations was a thing that was like, no, Genesis needs to stop and to fail and stop, and it did in a way. But I feel every time that I read this, I feel like, no, man, this shouldn't have happened, not in my timeline. Well, anyways, Peter Gabriel asked, why Ray? Because we like the tone of his voice. Peter Gabriel asked. It's so dumb. Hugo Daniel Caro asked, will there be a world tour with the new album, and will you come to South America? We're gonna go and hopefully after that South America, Asia, and the world. Nick Kershaw asked, no, I'm just kidding, were the songs written before choosing the singer? Interesting point. A large part of the music for the songs was written before we had chosen Ray, but we adapted many of the melodies and lyrics after he had joined. He also contributed to both melodies and lyrics. Will Genesis experiment with drums and bass like David Bowie? That's so funny because this album is not very heavy on those things, actually. It's very heavy on guitar and keyboards. we're still talking about the next album. Will you miss Phil? Phil is one of the best drummers in the business. Perhaps this is why although most of this drawing was with Near, we also used some of Nick DiVirgilio's playing. There can be no more jokes about bald people. Mind you, Mike is close. We obviously miss Phil in all departments, but it has left us with some great challenges. Tony, come on. Why are you like that? Why do you keep joking about bald people? Let me guess. You watch Breaking Bad. No, I'm just kidding. By the way, I am not bald at all. I will be making the same jokes as Tony. I have tons of hair, just like Tony. I guess that's my genes. I'm just kidding. My very black hair. I think it will be hard not to miss Phil Collins from a band's lineup. However, Nick Kershaw and myself... Oh, come on. I have to stop reading like that. What does the future hold for Genesis? Don't ask this. Don't do it. The outside musical work we all do, in my case the mechanics, are a big part of my life. This is the start of the new Genesis. The new Genesis! The Neva Genesis! Out now! The plan will be to do another album incorporating Ray more fully, but will obviously be sometime in the future. I'm greatly looking forward to the next Genesis album. I would also like to release my own record. Shut up. No, I'm just kidding. What do you think you would be doing if you weren't making music? I wanted to be a journalist. Having met many journalists, I'm happy with my choice. Tony, I have no idea. It's hard to imagine life without music, but given the chance and the ability, I would like to play professional football, of course. That will be pretty interesting, but Tony... Holy shit, his answer. Oh my god. Tony... this is the only timeline, probably, where Tony exists as a musician. I don't know what I'm saying. Was there ever a time when you both... Consider calling it quits. After Phil left, it had crossed our minds that maybe the time had come to stop. The last thing I wanted to... Okay. We decided to have a writing session and the music really excited us. The opening calling on the station was part working on that day. When Anthony Phillips left, come on Tony, leave the past behind. That was, what, 28 years before? No, I'm just kidding. Someone has left. I have seen it as almost a challenge to keep going. Obviously, I'm biased, but I feel it will be great loss to millions of Genesis fans had they not carried on. Off. ¿Qué? What? ¿Qué es esto? Ray, you're so right for that. What am I hearing? Oh, I like this. Is this the one I used for small talk? Ray, what's your favorite Genesis song? Mama. He has always said that, by the way. And of course, calling all stations. That's his mama. Yeah, this is the small talk intro from the final episode. You know what? I'm concentrating too much on this. If you could have one ex-Genesis member back, who will it be? Mike says nothing. I'm just kidding, none. Only because I think all of us, ex-members included, feel it is more exciting to move on with something new musically than to redo something. This doesn't mean that I don't miss them. I have heard so many times about this, the ex-Genesis members and whatnot. that you can come back, because the system on the way that Genesis always reunites, when it reunites and makes a new project, the system is already established in one way, and adding someone else to that equation is not something that it's hard to convene, because Steve was already doing his own thing at his own pace, and Genesis was already going in other directions, other places. And I think that I would like to see them back again, all of them. But at the same time, I really like where they are going solo. And if they can make all of that work, even though it will be difficult, that will be really good. What's the reason for the delay with the box sets? It's difficult to find a gap in everybody's release schedule, because this also concerns Peter, Phil, Steve, etc. Aren't you old for this pop music? It's funny you should say this, but at 28 years old, I feel that it should not quite stop yet. Thanks for asking, Ray. Come on. This is funny. This is... You know what? 28 years old, I'm older than Ray back then. Holy shit. Is it true that you are going to use Junior Vasquez as a remixer for some of your tracks? What? On my last solo record, Strictly Inc., we had one remix of the track Only 17, which contained not on one note of the original. What is the point? I don't believe that remixing Genesis songs is really to anyone's benefit. Yep, that was a big problem. But you know what? Yeah, there are that mix of Only 17 that he's referring to is not good. It's the worst one. But there are others that actually work, and I think that Only 17 worked in a dance context. Do you want to strangle people who ask why you don't do stuff like Super Ready? No, I don't want to strangle them. I sympathize, because when I see a group, I want to hear the songs I know. But I think they should understand that it is important for us to play a setlist that really excites us. And this obviously includes a mixture of new and old. However, you never know. We have such a large catalog of old material to choose from. We can't please everybody, but we're still proud of Super Ready and many other songs from the early period, and we will do so. I feel it's very important to include key Genesis songs from the past in our forthcoming tour. We're discussing at present which songs to include due to my voice being different to Phil's. It might well throw up some surprises, like The Lamb and Lover's Sleep from Super Ready. A brief biog. One of the most prestigious job vacancies in the world of rock and roll is vacant no longer. Following Phil Collins' departure from Genesis last year, the band has chosen as its new vocalist 28-year-old Ray Wilson. Peter Gabriel. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we already know this. Ray Wilson was born in Dumfries on 8 September 1968, where he grew up before moving to Carlisle. Ray's first band was called The End. Then he went into Guaranteed Pure before joining Steelskin. In 1994, when I was born, Steelskin achieved fame through their number one single Inside. Their album The Mind's Eye was released in September of 1994. When asked whether he ever imagined he would be singing for a world-famous band such as Genesis, Ray replied, "I always thought I would do well, but not this well." What's your musical background? Click the 2.5 megs or the 355k. Okay, that's fun. I'm not gonna click that. Go back. What did I click? This one. Okay, this one I didn't. Interviews with Tony and Mike. What is it like working with the new singer? Tony, what do you think of the new singer? Mike, how's the new singer voice Will early material be revisited? What plans do you have for the tour? The album track by track. You can now pirate the album in its entirety. The opening track, which was actually the very first thing we wrote, what became the middle part came a little later. We really just set up the rhythm and played on it. It's a chord sequence based piece, and all this chord sequence just sounded really good on it. You know dramatic chords, and it was simply a question of trying to put them. It's a dark and dramatic slow tempo track, and I know it's Ray's favorite song on the album. I really enjoy Calling All Stations. From oh, this is Tony Banks speaking in all of the songs. Holy shit. Calling All Stations is a great track. I really enjoy the voice delivery there. It really developed out of a loop. I was combining 2 or 3 different things together and slowing them down and doing funny things with them, and it just had a really good feel to it. I thought so. We ended up having 2 completely different modes on this one loop, one of which was very much a happy thing, which was more obvious. It suggested slightly African beats or a Caribbean feel. Then the other thing had this much darker mood, and we just combined the 2 really. When we were writing this and I had just heard the Stillskin album, I said to Mike, this will sound fantastic. Get that singer from Stillskin. This song sounds exactly like one he will sing. And I just sang what was really quite a straight bluesy kind of melody on it, and I said that will sound really good with that singer's voice. It will work. So I had Ray's voice at the back of my mind. So there is a tape of Tony singing Congo. I want to hear that. I am pleased with the way the song turned out. I am actually not very much. I really enjoy the chord sequence in Congo. I really enjoy the sections, but I think that Ray's voice sounds good in some sections. Like, I don't like how he says anymore, but then it goes into the chorus and it sounds great. Shipwrecked actually came from another loop. We made that all the time of things as we went along. I clipped it out and put it on the emulator because I thought it was a good little piece. Wait a minute. All the time of things and we went along, and there was a little bit in the song that became Anything Now. Anything now could be there for you. There was just a little riff that Mike played, and just so that I could put a tag on it. I thought it was a good little piece, and I thought there was something we could do with it. I played it back at slow speed on keyboards, and I just thought it sounded fantastic, so I looped it, as I do, and I played it to Mike, and I said, you're going to love this, and quite obviously he loved it because it was him. It was just a little riff, just a transient riff in a long 25-minute improvisation, a riff he played twice, and it just sounded really good. That's why it sounds, that's the intro. Dun, 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 dun. The intro sounds a bit slow. It sounds like a loop as well. That's cool. Tony is so sassy. Hello, Ursula Cat. I'm pronouncing that well. Tony and Mike are so in sync. And now I realize that I had the chat very low and I couldn't see that other message. Okay. Yeah. My pronunciation is a bit funny. But yeah, Tony and Mike are very connected. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Alien Afternoon because that song is just great. Mike had a drum pattern, as he does, and I just played on it. But we had 3 or 4 bits that worked, okay? Mike was particularly keen on what ended up being the first part of the song. I was particularly keen on what ended up on the second part. And it was just that there wasn't a way you could really make a song out of them and say that one's a chorus to the other's verse. They were too separate, so the idea was to have a kind of link. I had this odd chord sequence that went with the second half but wasn't really part of anything, so that was used as the kind of bridge between them. It was just a matter then of working out a lyric that would combine the two very different styles. The second half is very deceptive because it's very simple pattern and yet somehow it sounds special and you don't know why that is. It just has a quality about it. Yeah, I think that Alien Afternoon sounds very complex. By the way, this is getting on review territory for Calling All Stations. I have written a review for Calling All Stations so many times, even though in the progarchives.com doesn't reflect that. But I have written videos where I talk about each song. I released Cover Me on Alien Afternoon. I talked about the song a bit. I also released a Better Live on the dividing line. So I always have something to do. I wanted to do a Genesis through the years. I also wanted, I don't remember very well, but I had one where I talked about each song individually. It's just sound. Yeah, Calling All Stations has been. I think that more than defending, I defend Calling All Stations, but I enjoy it more than We Can Dance and Abacab, probably in its totality. I really enjoy the B-sides as well. But the thing with Calling All Stations that saddens me more is that the band ended there. That's the thing that I would have liked to hear more of the band. Imagine if this was a success. It probably wouldn't have been. People are convinced that this would have been terrible for the band because they would have done more like Calling All Stations with drum patterns and whatnot. The thing that I'm trying to say is that if they had succeeded, they probably would have arrived over here. And maybe, I don't know if they would have reunited in 2007. The thing is that, in a way, I resent that, but in another way, every time someone seems to fail at something, oh my god, that's a terrible idea. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that as a small talk, probably. I actually, believe it or not, I have a small talk written that's very deceptive, and that I will leave it as that. I think that people will be very surprised by the small talk because it won't. Yeah, it's not. That's the only new. I wanted to write a post on YouTube on the community tab that I haven't been very motivated to do anything for some reason. I don't know why. I have written some ideas. I haven't written enough ideas. I had this entire week to do something and I only did things for my second channel. I'm probably too much into video games or something. I don't know. Video games has been my passion for longer than Genesis. Yeah, I think that it was probably a burnout because last year I wanted to really have a video like a week or something. But the thing is that I couldn't come up with something to do and record. I only came up with this stream that I wanted to do yesterday, but I did it today because I have a bit of time. But the thing is that I have what was I going to say? I wrote one idea. That's the thing. And that one idea I thought that was so good and I recorded it instantly, but then I didn't edit it and I haven't done anything about it. And I have some things done that I haven't edited. That's the thing. And editing has burned me out completely. And I will probably get back into editing sooner. I also, last year I tried to watch a short video on my second channel about Yoshi's Island every day, and that also ended. So okay, so not about us. I really dislike those loud cars that go outside. But anyways, Mike played that opening sequence, very simple, and it sounded very good. Oh yeah, I was saying, if Calling All Stations had been a success, they probably would have kept doing very simple, you know? That's what they were saying. And I forgot where I was going before, but I remember now that when Nintendo failed with the Wii U, they did so many discounts and they gifted so many things and they did so many cool things that really made me a fan. And then when I moved to the Switch, things were very expensive and the online, you had to pay for online, and everything just went to the other way, because I think that was the success of the Nintendo Switch. And with Genesis I feel something similar. Like they started, but probably I'm wrong, because they started doing these things, you know, these interviews, releasing the songs online, but that was probably the online culture at the time. That wasn't a thing because they failed. But with Calling All Stations is very interesting, because even today, if some B-sides are not copyrighted, and if you release some Calling All Stations things, they are not copyrighted and won't be taken down, like some documentaries or whatever. So that's pretty interesting. Like, they failed and they ignore Calling All Stations a lot, and thanks to that we have a lot of Calling All Stations on the internet. But at the same time we could have way more, because Genesis now are very reserved and they got a leak recently that they haven't talked about at all since it occurred. But I did check the leak and I wanted to make a video about it, but apparently some channels were taken down, so I am not gonna do anything yet. And I was worried about doing this as well, about checking the old pages. But now I'm just doing it. Yeah, exactly. I want to edit the song Papa He Said a lot, because it's so editable. But I have already done so much to it. And I started editing it the other day, and Genesis just doesn't touch that song, even though they released it and it's easier to copyright. They just do it. By the way, what am I hearing? Oh, it stopped. Okay. YouTube has this funny function where you're listening to music and they pause the thing. I remember when that wasn't the case, and I remember that when YouTube was like that, it was better for me to use. I really enjoyed using YouTube back then. A large amount of the melody on this during the verses came from Ray, and he was down here the second time auditioning and we were making him sing along. This is another interesting thing, because Ray Wilson says that Not About Us would have been the hit of the time, and Genesis pushed Congo instead, And Congo is Tony Banks seems very proud of it, and Not About Us, Ray Wilson seems very proud of it. But I think that I'm gonna side with Ray here. I'm listening to Sober's Ready, and then suddenly YouTube is like, "Oh, you will keep listening to you mother." I don't know if I should swear. I have already swore today in this video. Are you gonna keep listening, you bitch? Or something like that. Why can't people just say? It makes me laugh when Scott DeWoss, for example, which I watch. It came a bit like a WWE kind of dude or something. By the way, I never watched wrestling at all, what little. But I have a cousin that really loved wrestling and punched me all the time. So that's funny. But he also loved Dragon Ball, by the way. And I also didn't watch Dragon Ball. And people always point me with a finger when I say that. Like, how could you? But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Scott DeWoss says bitch all the time, and no one bitches about it. But then he censors every other slur, which is funny. I remember when someone said the the N word to Scott. Hey, Scott, you're me, right? That was so funny. And then someone edited it with a blue border and censored his word with the blip to make it more Scott DeWoss coded. It was so funny. But anyways, I don't know. My humor is fucked. You have to think that I come from the Filthy Frank era, by the way. Everyone was watching shit humor, very bad humor from here in Chile. And I was watching Filthy Frank. And I showed that to some friends and people were shocked, obviously. Yeah, nobody liked that. But anyways, what I was saying is that Tony Banks is very proud of Congo, and Ray is very proud of Not About Us, and Not About Us was released as the 4th single. And I think that this was the single material for the era. Ray was right. I don't know how much would have been different. I really find it funny that if that's what you need, I really enjoy this song. But every time they get asked about this song, I mean, when people talk about this song, they say nothing. They say, every time there is a documentary on Calling All Stations, people say like, oh yeah, this is a ballad, who cares? This is Hold On My Heart too. And then they ask the band, why did you make this song? And they just write the smallest description. They say the smallest thing. It's just a little loop. It's a very romantic kind of lyric. In the tradition of Follow You, Follow Me, I think it works. Come on, sell the song. It's on the final album. It's not a B-side. I actually really enjoy if that's what you need. It should be me defending it, probably. I don't know. Okay, the dividing line. The strongest instrumental, and it particularly features the drummer Nir. The working title was NYPD because of the way the drums were very fast. I had no idea. Okay, supper is ready. What's happened to the background audio? Oh my god. Okay, thanks for watching. See you. I will keep reading this and I will probably move on to other old Genesis stuff. Okay, I had no idea about this on the dividing line. NYPD. Very exciting, and it will be a good live number. It might end up being a stage closer or something, as it has some of that feel that Los Endos has, I think. And obviously you have the drum solo. If he's still got the strength to do it. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I think that is a good live track. This is probably the... If they had to preserve one Genesis song for live, it probably would have been the dividing line. Uncertain Weather, I also really enjoy it. This is what you might call a more traditional Genesis ballad. This one, Nick DiVirgilio does the drums, which are really nice, and we ended up using his part. We did get near over to try to copy the part, but it didn't sound nearly as good as when Nick did it. It's a lighter touch which seemed to work really well on this song. It's a sad song, but it's one where, in contrast to some of the other songs, I pretty much made Ray sing exactly what the notes were because it needed the melody. It's quite crucial to it. I really enjoyed this song, by the way. It's probably, I don't know, it's very moody. It's not a song that we will play live. Damn. Small Talk. It has as its basis a quite simple guitar riff, which had a good feel, and I played the sax on top of it, which gave it quite a good character, I think. This is a song that Ray actually wrote all the melody and lyrics on. Oh my god! Small Talk is the song made entirely on a group. This is the song that has everything. The best thing about it for me is the line Small Talk itself, which has got just a great sound to it. It's kind of a three-part harmony thing. Small Talk. He's got a great low voice when he sings an octave. What am I listening to? An octave below his own voice. He gives it quite a growl, which he used quite a lot on the album. I used it quite a lot on songs which I was controlling the vocals on, because I just think it has a strong quality about it. And yes, I think it's a fun song. It's got a bit of character. It's gone down well with people who are less Genesis fans. Hey, I'm a big Genesis fan, and I like Small Talk. Why does this thing pause every song? There must be some other way. One of my favorite tracks on the album. It's really big. Ballad, an extended instrumental middle section. If people have criticism of this album who are long-time fans of Genesis, I think they would say there's not enough instrumentals on the album, and that's a fair criticism, I think, but there is a bit on this, in the middle, that recognizable Genesis. It's very sad lyric about divorce, and I wrote the lyrics to this, but I used what Ray came up with on the chorus spontaneously when we were improvising early on. He just sang There Must Be Some Other Way, and it sounded good. So we used that as the basis of the song, modified it a bit to make it work. It's what you might almost call a piece of straight rock singing on the chorus. You got to harness it, and you don't need to write a great melodic line. It just sounds really good, and it has a lot of passion into it. One Man's Fool. Well, the first half is about the Twin Towers. No, I'm just kidding. It's really dealing with terrorism, I suppose. The idea of someone who's obviously, when you watch a program on TV, when you see the news and you see all of this misery and destruction and everything, and you know that obviously someone looks at this and thinks that's a job well done. I'm really pleased with that. And it's difficult to know. It's difficult to get inside that person's brain, I feel. What is that is important enough for them to make them feel that this is worth doing, causing all this misery. So the first half deals with more of that. The second half deals with that, but extends the idea a bit further, really. Dealing with certainty. People who are certain about things. How can you be so sure? I have always had a mistrust of certainty, and the second half really deals with that. But it deals with really in a more philosophical manner, so it's less personal, it's less intense. I keep this song, it's really appropriate right now, because I have I think that everyone knows what's been the talk of the town, the terrible things, some files, and I really can't understand it. I really can't understand what makes people do certain things that they do, It's about terrorism. But I think that there is something there that it's like you try to get in the mind or in the idea of someone that does something like that, and then you just stress out of it, because that's when you realize that you personally can't connect with that. I think that there are some untapped lyrics there, by the way. This is the index that came from the previous page, and it barely loads. I think that this is the index. This is from 2002. Official sites, key fan sites. You know what? I went too much into calling all stations. I'm sorry. I don't know for how long I have been streaming. Let me check. Why can't I see? Wow, how I ruined my phone with that. Oh my god. How do I fix this? Okay, I fixed it. Started streaming 51 minutes ago. Okay, nice. Nice on ice. All I had to do was rotate my phone. And the song stopped again. Come on. See the comprehensive new range of Genesis merchandise. Genesis Archive 1967 to 75. Video Audio Vault Steve 5102. What is this? The Bible? Genesis 7:10:02. Genesis verse 7 argument 10. I don't know how do you say it in English. Peter Gabriel news updated. Oh my god, what happened? 10:11:10. And Steve Hackett news updated. Ray Wilson news updated. Ant Phillips news updated. Bill Bruford news updated. Daryl Stwermer news updated. Nice. Sign or guest book. Oh my god, this page is so destroyed. Okay, let's go back to the past. Oh my god, Genesis news. Oh wow. Now this loads. In recent years, there have been several attempts at producing the definitive Genesis website. The most recent was the Music 3WW site, which, as many of you will know, failed to develop after an initially promising start. As a result of this, the band and Hit and Run have decided upon a different low-tech, high-content strategy. The result is this site. Low-tech, high-content. I enjoy that because that's what I'm trying to do with my Skimnesty site. We will not pretend this site can be finished overnight. There is just too much to do. So, as I have been told, this one had a forum and a chat room, and all Genesis forums were horrible, apparently. And here we have January 24th, 2002. You will say 24 years ago. Wow. Genesis DVD camera layout guide, new chat room, Tony Banks classical suit update. Wow. Gilmour Fitch rumors denied. Phil Collins charity event photos. New album for Christmas. Mike Rutherford interview, David Rhodes new album, Italian and UK dates in Ray Wilson, Steve Hackett promos and Dick Cadbury news, US festival date, Paul Carrack tour updates. Wow. What happened? Okay. Anthony Phillips new library projects. Missing links, the Bill Rutherford Airworks autumn tour details. I'm really interested in Tony Banks. What does it say? I find it interesting because apparently 7 was released in 2004. And here we are seeing, this is from July 2002, but the thing said January 2002 and the news said from 2001. So they have been announcing the Tony Banks news on the classical album since 2001. That's actually very interesting. Look at this picture. You have the picture over here and someone did a zoom in of the picture for the webpage. That's pretty fun. So Tony has been devoting most of his time to writing a suite of classical music pieces which he then plans to record in 2002 with either the London Symphony Orchestra or Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. I think that it was the London one. Rumors that Tony is working on a rock album in addition to the classical suites previously mentioned are not true. How many rumors were there back then? Rumors that Tony had been working with David Gilmour and Fitch have been denied by the man himself. Why do I find this funny? Tony is working on his classical suites album and is about a third of the way through recording. He hopes to have it released in the middle of next year. Tony continues to work on his classical album. We hope to be able to have a chat with Tony about the album, and maybe hear a few snippets over the next few weeks, which I'll ask him the crucial question like, what's wrong with a decent string synthesizer? Funny. Okay. Air Lanehurst is a huge studio complex based in a 1850s Victorian church set in darkest Hampstead. The studios were opened 10 years ago, when Air moved from Oxford Street to be more refined claims of Lanehurst Road. There are 3 live rooms in the building, the largest being an extraordinary vaulted hexagon. Behind angled glass in the wall opposite to the organ lies a darkened room. It is filled with a 96-track Neve desk. Come on. Oh, whoops. Oh, it started. Oh, it stopped. The 4 men are Mike Dixon, who will conduct the orchestra when ready to play. In his spare time, Mike is the musical supervisor of the hugely successful hit musical We Will Rock You. Simon Hale Okay, he did some work with Mike at the Mechanics. Nick Davis and the man whose music they are dissecting, the composer Tony Banks, who in previous incarnation played keyboards for a moderately successful pop-rock combo with a few hits to their name. Their problem is one beat and in one bar, one point in a majestically slow section that unwinds across a Maherlesque chord sequence. This is the last day of recording. Time is for the essence. Orchestral players work to union rules. No chaining that. With breaks at expected intervals, an hour for lunch and no overruns. Rock and roll it is not. It is now 11:30. There are 90 minutes left before lunch and 3 more hours after. Everything must be done by then. Every time I hear Union Rules, it's funny because I remember Star Wars when people turned off the lights. The thing is that for old people, I don't know, Genesis probably, because Genesis worked and worked and worked and worked, and when they talk about Union Rules, it must feel a bit alien to them because they were just going at it when they were young. But well, orchestras are a lot of people, and you need to have. I don't know. I actually don't know if you need to have those rules in Britain. It probably needs. But anyways, two-part theme has proved to be the most troublesome of the 7 orchestral pieces. It is rhythmically more complex and varied than the other pieces and requires tight unison playing from players scattered around the large room. By the end, there is nodding of heads, a few smiles, but yet Tony is still not quite satisfied. Look at him, he's not satisfied. More conferring, detailed adjustments on the hoof-rest scoring. It is decided to break for lunch. The orchestra is tiring and everyone needs time to draw breath. Those wind instruments, you know. No, I'm just kidding. Over lunch, I use the time to pester Tony with questions, which he answers with unfailing good humor. The 7 pieces being recorded have been written. It emerges over nearly 20 years. 5 have been composed. 5? 5! No, just kidding. In the last 24 months, but one dates from 1994 and another from 10 years earlier. Most of them were written and demoed on string synths, but some were written on piano, and they reflect this in the different mode and structure of the pieces concerned. From these demos, Simon Hale has produced the final arrangements. Okay, you can read all of this, but this is funny to me. This is very entertaining. This will be an album of Tony Banks' composer, not Tony Banks' performer. I ask about Tony's musical mentors, Ravel and Rachmaninoff, of course, Mahler and Shostakovich. Okay, I will have to search for that. Elgar, of course, and Vaughan Williams. Tony clearly enjoys working with orchestra. He states that he's not a fan of computerized composition, preferring real instruments and real people to shape his music. There is, however, a key difference between playing with a live orchestra and with, say, Genesis. The tempo is the tempo with the LPO. Tony laughingly reflects on the tendency of Genesis Live to accentuate the more obvious musical elements of the piece to be played. Loud parts go louder, fast parts, and here he cites sections in the cinema show, just got quicker and quicker, and slow songs, such as Squonk, almost ground to a standstill under the dramatic weight of the performance. Yes, that's really true. The In the Cage solo was so unrecognizable later. And there are songs that they just kept stretching more and more. Like, I don't know, Hold On My Heart probably. Throwing It All Away. I don't know. I have more examples. Skong. Actually, Skong was pretty interesting because in the album I think it's like 7 to 8 minutes. And in the live version it's... The longest Squonk is like 12 minutes or something. It's insane. When the session is complete, everyone applauds everyone else. There's an air of relaxed, good humor. And Tony after this said that he got very tired of this. What is that? It comes to me as I narrowly avoid a suicidal cyclist near the old Vic. The slow part from two-part team. All it now needs is a title. This is old. That's back then when you could say those words in the internet. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, what else? What else should I check? This one. You see, there is nothing here. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is copyrighted. Go away. Go away. How do I... Oh my god, how do I do this? Okay, I stopped it. Oh, I forgot about it. That's so scary. Oh, Genesis, Mama jump scare. It's real. It's real. Okay. Load, please. Is it loading? No, it isn't. No, it isn't? Okay. Move on. Oh. Oh. Okay, let's go. He's gonna take you back to the past to play the cheaty game of Success. Okay, I can't say that, right? Even AVGN stopped his intro. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, I want to load something. Load and reload. Like the Metallica album. People are always surprised when I talk about Metallica. Metallica for me, it's baby creep tired songs. No, I'm just kidding. The thing is that my father loves Metallica, and I heard Metallica so much when I was a baby. That's the thing. And my mother listened to Madonna back then, and a bit of Anthrax and Metallica as well. And then she moved into Nightwish, and that's what she likes. And my father moved more into Iron Maiden, so I of course went into progressive rock and whatnot. Okay, don't scare me again. Oh, come on. Come on. Please load. Do it. This is the webpage, by the way. Welcome to the official Genesis website. A much bigger site will follow in 2001. This really looks like the Genesis Archive 2 promo. And I want to see this was released in 2000. And the thing with this Archive 2 is that it has the webpage that I'm visiting here, which says genesis.m3w.com, as you can see over here. And if I was searching for all Genesis pages, come on, I wouldn't have known anything about it back then, about this page. I probably would have found that page in older versions of the old page, this one, which has the title genesis/music.com, which, by the way, the actual page is down, if you had no idea about that. I was surprised to learn that. The page you are looking for is no longer here or never existed in the first place. Bummer. You can try searching for what you're looking for using the form below. If that still doesn't provide the results you are looking for, you can always start over from the home page. Okay. If I click this, it takes me here. And if I click the store icon, it takes me to the Genesis Online store. No. Oh no, oh no. But anyways, that's the thing. This page is no longer functional for some reason. They seem to always block stuff. And it's a bit sad because Genesis actually had put so much effort in the old stage and in the old web page, and they seemed keen to share everything, and then eventually stopped doing that and closed everything for many reasons I can imagine. People said all the time that the forum was horrible, and that people complained that the band is never doing anything right or something like that. And they were going there, but they were probably too slow, I don't know. Or probably omitted something. This looks fine to me. That's the thing. And then they deleted that. And then they deleted more that the fans had after the acquisition from Concord. So they went from publishing lots of things to not publishing anything but leaving everyone to their paces, it seems, and then to actively stop archival material. But how active they are is not a lot because the band is very old. Or probably the people in charge are just like, oh, that's dangerous, let me delete that, and then they delete that, and there are like 30 more, and they okay, who cares? This is too slow, by the way. Okay, let's go back here. Recent rumors of Genesis tour weren't true. However, we have decided to feature an exclusive live recording of I Can't Dance. This was filmed at the MMF dinner in honor of Genesis manager Tony Smith in September 2000. It features Phil, Tony, Mike, and Daryl playing a semi-acoustic set. As an extra treat, we have also included archive live footage of Mama from 1987 and Navacap from 1981. Click on Navigate and then Live. Archive 2. Listen to tracks and watch interview footage. Click on Navigate and then Live. Yeah, this page... okay, Home, Archive 2. Let's see Archive 2. Press to play, you will need Windows Media Player. You can pirate the thing here. Click here to buy. Shop. Let's shop in the 2000s. If you live in USA, click here to buy. I don't, but I will click anyways. Hopefully it doesn't take me to okay, Amazon. Let's see live. And yeah, I don't really like this microsite. It's very demanding. Something went wrong. Okay. It's loading again. The same thing. I personally don't like when things have so many animations and whatnot. Okay, I was checking something. What's happening with the Firefox player? Okay, what happens? I will try to go into another date. Let me try and do it. 2004. I think that I went too far. I think that the page was already dead by then. Hopefully I don't see anything troublesome. Okay, it's the same thing. This page probably didn't have much going on. Okay, let's go to earlier. This is the early 2000 or yeah, it's the same shit. Can I go even earlier? No, I think that I can't. Okay, I'm gonna close this. Genesis Talk is a place where fans can do exactly that. You know what? I should have a series called like this instead of a skim stock. But anyways, chat about the music, the lyrics, the concept. You know what I call things so generic in my channel instead of going full Genesis? Because I want to talk about other prog rock bands. We will never be far away, lurking quietly and where we can helping out with information. Dodo Lurker. Okay. We cannot promise to answer every question raised at Genesis Talk, but we will do our best to help. But given the likely volume of traffic here, please see if the site already holds the answer to your question before raising it here. Also, please don't ask me how I am. I'm fine. To be sent things, as we really cannot handle that sort of request. You don't have to register to use Genesis Talk. You don't even have to talk. You don't even have to type. You can just go away and make our lives easier. Do not be polite. No, just kidding. Do not try to sell bootleg music or video through Genesis Talk. You will be banned. Do be polite. Nothing is more dull than people who resort to gratuitous insults when they cannot get their argument across or when someone disagrees with them. Persistent infringers may be banned, and if you do trade insults, at least make them entertaining. Something we can use next time a cab driver cuts us up. You see? This is how it was back then. If you do trade insults, at least make them entertaining. You are the ugly. You bitch. Fox tot. I want to see if someone said an entertaining insult. Other than that, Genesis Talk is yours to do with as you will. Have fun and happy talking. Is this a forum? Go here for the new chat room. We have 6 channels. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, I have to wait for the thing to start and it will stop on its own. Come on. Okay, what else can I check? The Genesis Archive, a complete history of the band. What it will become. Yeah, I already checked this one. How internet chat rooms were in the early 2000s. If you, I would like, I think that people always talk about how horrible they were. I can imagine that because of, you know, Jimmy Smith stuff and whatever. I remember seeing sites like this for my favorite musicals back then. I barely remember the old internet. I think that I don't remember if my parents were really strict with me with that, but I was very childish, probably, I don't know, and I always looked for Mario and whatever. I remember that a friend showed me some things on the internet, like South Park. Oh, how funny South Park and everything. And I remember that me personally just checking mini clip or something for Mario stuff, and that's it. But before that, I remember just drawing in the computer. That's all that I did. It's weird to think about it because I remember it feels like I did so many noob things. Like at 10 years old, I was still doing some stupid things on the computer. Anything? I think that what helped me be cyber safe was that I had some interactions that I didn't enjoy on some pages, and I realized, and I, oh yeah, exactly. Also that, I didn't. When I realized that some people were lying to me, I was like, okay, I'm not talking anymore with this person. And in a way, I feel like whoever was lying to me, I feel like that I will hats off to that person, because that person said, you know what, I'm not gonna do this anymore, and he or whatever, I don't remember, but it was this person that revealed that it was he revealed that he was playing a character of a child or something, and he was an adult, and then he said to me like, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm not what you think I am. I am this dude from I was like 8 years old, and this guy told me like, yeah, I'm this 24-year-old dude, and I'm sorry for making you feel like I'm Barney or something. I don't remember very well. Exactly. And I think I felt I think that at the time I really started to see the benefits of just posting in a way. When I had a Facebook, I just posted stuff, and I tried not to be like bait, or to try and interact too much with people. I tried to make people smile, and I tried to do that today even. Again, it stopped the music. Oh my god. I I had a Twitter, and I talked with some people for like a year, and I remember feeling like, why am I worrying about this? And I just deleted the thing. Like, some socials are made to make you worry about things that really don't matter, and also make you upload videos, like you said, and kids upload videos and whatnot, and I just feel like things are not safe at all nowadays in that regard. Even when people record and don't press upload, they are still using the app that works with the internet, and even that I distrust. But anyways, when it comes to old forums, I don't remember ever visiting much old forums. I remember checking like probably GameFAQs or whatever is the name. But it was not something that I frequented. That's the thing. I wasn't very frequent when it came to the internet. And when I started becoming more frequent, I started doing very stupid things that weren't very serious. They were more comical, I should say. The thing is that, well, the page that I'm checking right now, it's a work in progress, and that page, I checked this earlier, and I think that this page never went anywhere. The only image that loads is Peter Gabriel's flower. It's funny. Okay, let's click Genesis. Wow. Click on the album sleeve. Okay, let's check Trespass. Let's click looking for someone. Let's see what happens here. Yeah. Keep on a straight line. I don't believe I can. Trying to find a needle on a high stack. Chilly wind. You're piercing like a dagger. It hurts me so. Yeah. Okay, I'm singing it this terribly. I like that it has some of the images from the sleep. Okay. Let's check the anniversary stuff. What's in anniversary right now? The Lamb. By the way, I'm still late with releases of the Lamb. Let's check A Trick of the Tail. This is a very... It was released on February 1976. So we're still in time to talk about this, even though I haven't released anything. And that's another thing that kind of stops me from doing things, is that I wanted to make a video for A Trick of the Tail, and I have everything prepared for any album except this one, so I don't know what happened. It just, things sometimes are like that. Holy Mother of God, you've got to go faster than that to get to the top. Dirty old mountain all covered in smoke. She can turn you to stone, so you better start doing it right. Better start doing it right. Yep. On your left and on your right, crosses are green and crosses are blue. Your friends didn't make it through. Dance on a Volcano is such a metal song. It's such an Iron Maiden thing. Holy Mother of God, you got to go faster than that. I can imagine Bruce Dickinson singing this. And also talking about crosses are green and crosses are blue. Iron Maiden talks about war all the time in the songs, and this song is clearly about war. So yeah, Entangled. When you're asleep, they may show you aerial views. Aerial views. Oh, I can't do this. Oh no. Freudian sleep. No, just kidding. The thing with Entangled is that I listened to it. The first song I listened after getting hospitalized was Entangled. So I did it. I kind of developed a trauma for myself with this song because of that. I listen to it and I feel like, oh no, I remember being hospitalized. Oh no, that's the point of the song. I'm so dumb. Why did I do that to myself if I love the song? But anyways, I still listen to it. I actually have an a cappella for Dance on a Volcano, but I need to do the instruments, and that's the reason why I haven't released that. Doing the instruments takes a long time. Yeah, Entangled it was made like that, even though it is very magical, and it makes me think of many things when I listen to it. What is the parts? Mesmerized. What is the... Mesmerized children are playing, meant to be seen but not heard. Stop me from dreaming, don't be absorbed. That part, I don't know. When I hear that, I imagined that I was sleeping or something, and I looked to the outside of the window, and I see silhouettes of rooftops, and I see children running on the rooftops, and I wrote something about it that felt a bit like the Goonies, and I don't know, it's so... I haven't developed it yet, the story, but I think that Entangled... Genesis makes me think some stories that I want to write. That's the thing that I want to say. Squonk. Like father, like son. That's how Steve's vocalist sings it. No, I'm just kidding. Like father, like son. Like father, like son. No, I'm just kidding. Not flesh, nor fish, nor bone. Like father, like son. Not flesh, nor flesh, nor bone. A red rag hangs from an open mouth. Alive at both ends, but a little dead in the middle. You know, I wouldn't have gotten the the audition for Genesis. The thing is that I actually have an a cappella version for this as well, but I have to do the instrumentals. And this song is way too long, so wish me luck. Was it summer when the river ran dry? Or was it just another dam? You know what? It must be very confusing to sing this. And I'm focusing too much on... I have to move on, but the thing is that I love Madman Moon. I love it. It's so beautiful. Robbery, Salt and Battery. Again, the middle section of this album. I love this entire album. If I had to choose my favorite album, it will be Wind and Wuthering. No, I'm just kidding. I always say that objectively, I love Nursery Crime more. Yeah, there are lots of puns. I am the Sandman. No, I'm just kidding. But the thing is that Nursery Crime has... I love every song in Nursery Crime. But I barely listen to Nursery Crime, sadly. I just enjoy every song, even though I have been noticing its shortcomings recently. But when it comes to like, this is way up there, you know, with Genesis, I think that Trick of the Tail, Wind and Wuthering, they are just excellent. I love them. But I think that I love everything Genesis. But if I had to choose my favorite album, I think that this is it. I love every song here. Wind and Wuthering has Your Own Special Way, which people always put down Wind and Wuthering because of that song. I don't know. I just love how heavy Wind and Wuthering is compared to this one. And I also really love And Then There Were Three, but I think that maybe they should have made some concessions and made some songs work together to make less songs but longer songs, you know. Well, Ripples, very beautiful. A Trick of the Tail. I was singing A Trick of the Tail the other day. Bored of the life on the city of gold, he left on the and let nobody know. When were the towers he had known from a child? I just realized something. I left my pets outside. Oh my god. I have to retrieve my pets. I'm a bad owner. So I'm gonna finish this very quickly. I wanted to check Calling All Stations for no reason. You know what? Let me go back. I want to check Tony Banks very quickly. What do you have here? Curious Feeling. This. Strictly Ink. Let's check it. Strictly Ink. Yeah, it's the same idea. Steve Hackett also. Let's check Steve Hackett. Blues with a... This one doesn't even have lyrics. Come on. Oh, I can't click it. I can't click anything. It's maybe loading. Oh, the pages for those albums aren't ready yet. Phil Collins Brand X, really nice. You can check my Rutherford very fast here. Let's check Brand X. Really nice. I like to see. That's the thing that I want to point out before going away. Is that Brand X? What is this? Is this an ass? Oh, I clicked on it. Is this gonna stop? Yeah, it is an ass. Oh, don't load, please. Okay. Brand X was how do I say it? I don't know how to say it in English. Adopted? Yeah. Brand X was adopted by Genesis actually, so that's pretty cool. At least here, you know, but then it wasn't. Okay, before going out, before going away, before saying goodbye, I want to check if the old 2002 Genesis page still links to Anthony Phillips' official website. And it does. Even though this is the old 2002 version of the website, but this is the original site. Steve Hackett still uses the same website? No, not at all. SteveHackett.com. Right now it is Hackett Songs, and you can download the PDF of Genesis. Is this the end? That's the thing. You know what? I did this video incorrectly a bit because I found videos in this site, in these old sites, and I found also found scans of all things, you know, and this is the new page, still the same link. Pretty cool. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching. See you soon. I think that this video came out as a mess. I went too much in calling all stations, but that's fine. That means that I won't talk about calling all stations anymore in this checking the past. And thank you for watching, and see you soon.